Hello and welcome back to Balloon Pop Dating, where we have two eligible bachelors here, one with a balloon and a question, and another one with a thirst for love and hopefully some answers. So to my friend with the balloon over there, you said you had a question you wanted to ask?
Yeah, actually I do. What's your favorite color?
Red. Oh!
Yeah, sorry. It's just that, like, my favorite color is black, and I can't really deal with anyone whose color is not that, you know?
Well, to them, black isn't even a real color. Oh! Okay, guys, let's calm down now. Let's calm down.
No, because what's the issue? What's the issue? If you think that's such a problem, then maybe that's why you're single. Maybe it's the people that like the color red that are the issue, not the people that like the color black. You know what? You wasn't even that cute anyway. That's why I popped the balloon.
I'm leaving. Okay, well, this has been it for this episode of Balloon Pop Dating. Let's turn it over to our friend Imurgency for more. Hey guys, what's up? It's Imurgency and welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about balloon pop dating, as well as getting into how this new trend or genre of video really highlights some of the fatal flaws that we're seeing in modern day dating, as well as talking about the concept of desirability. Now, if you haven't seen the viral series Balloon Pop or Find Love, or any of its other variants from other creators, you are genuinely missing out, because I'm gonna get into my opinions and thoughts on like the series in genre of video as a whole later on in this video. But one thing I cannot slight these videos for, and huge shout out to the creator of this series, Arlette. It is so entertaining. We are bringing reality TV to YouTube in some very interesting but definitely entertaining ways. Like, I'm definitely tuned in and I'm watching like the entire hour long video. Like, I'm a fan and I'm a lead with that. But if you're not familiar with this series or genre of video, Balloon Pop or Find Love is essentially a video series where there are an assortment of girls or an assortment of guys with balloons, and one bachelor or bachelorette at a time that comes in and tries to find connection or love with any one of the people with balloons. But the catch is, any of the people with balloons can pop their balloon at any time based on literally anything, whether that's something that the bachelor or bachelorette says, what they're wearing, what they believe in, basically whatever, throughout the process of like getting to know each other. And I definitely did not do that explanation justice, so I highly recommend, if you haven't already, to like check out the show and see how it's run so you can get a better grasp while we get into this conversation. But this is essentially a flip on the already popular like 20v1 series that other channels have started and popularized, where the one person carries most of the power and it's 20 people essentially trying to get at that one person. This feels more like 1v20, if that makes sense, depending on who you are, and we're gonna get into what I mean by that a little bit later in the video. There seems to be a little bit more of a equal distribution of power at play, where the people with the balloons actually have more of a say, because they're more so in control of popping their balloon or not, or giving the person a chance. But then on the other hand, the person who doesn't have the balloon also has some power, again, depending on how they look and how they come across, because they also have the power to pop balloons if no balloons are popped initially. And that's what makes the show so interesting, because the power dynamics are constantly at play. There is constantly a push and pull, a shift in power and aura, if you will, depending on who is up for the chopping block. And essentially what it feels like for a lot of these is, if you are an attractive person and don't come out the gate saying like absolutely crazy things, you kind of run the dating show a little bit more. But for anyone that isn't necessarily conventionally attractive, or also says some crazy things, as New York Times journalist Sheena Torellis dubs it, it can seem like a firing squad, but for romantic rejection. Now, like I said, I am personally a fan of this series. I initially saw clips from the show circulate on social media, and then eventually it found its way onto my YouTube recommended, and I've been keeping up with the series on and off. I'm a fan, and I think the production value of the show is insane, but I also have some thoughts on the show as a whole and how it kind of portrays and highlights a lot of the things that go on with the dating scene and play out on tropes of desirability. And we're going to start to get into that right now. But before we do, let's take a quick check to see if you've liked the video already and are already subscribed, because if not, you should do both those things, because I post content on here every single week, and you can follow me on my other socials for additional content every week on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, all at Imurgency. But let's get into some of my thoughts about Balloon Pop. And before I really get into it, I really want to preface this by saying, like, this is not a reflection on any of the creators of these series. In fact, I'm always so pro creator. As a creator myself, I understand how much time, money, and effort goes into this. This is not a video where I'm here on these creators and work that they do, because I think that the shows that they put on are incredibly impressive and well done. So there is absolutely no hate, ill will, or anything towards these creators, and I honestly don't condone any of that in this comment section or on their pages. So let's not get rowdy. Now that I say that out loud, kind of prefacing it like that makes it seem like I'm about to like dig into them. I'm honestly not. I just don't want anyone to feel slighted because I am going to be a little critical. But yeah, like I've said throughout this video, the balloon pop genre, the balloon pop series is really entertaining. And it's really interesting because it's a different concept, familiar, but different concept, because we've seen certain types of balloon pops before, usually by creators that often go viral on like Instagram and Twitter, that are meant to be really inflammatory, misogynistic, and just kind of gross, where I feel like the intention behind the balloon pop was just to degrade another person and have the opportunity to do so. Like I remember seeing clips from like a year or two ago of people just literally going back and forth and like popping balloons and just being really rude and nasty just to be out of pocket and get that reaction. What I feel like for like the more recent era of balloon pop, for sure, it's been a little bit more elevated. The production quality has gone up, and the main one, which I'm claiming to be the balloon pop or Find Love by Arlette, as well as some of the ones that have come out more recently that are branched off of those. I know there's like a gay version of like the balloon pop series that's based in Chicago, I think. The Arlette version's based in Arizona, and there's like ones in different cities. Those seem to be put together a little bit more. There's a little bit more class. There's a little bit less back and forth. There still is. Don't get me wrong. I've seen the clips. There's still a little bit of rowdiness, and that's what makes it fun. But it seems, by and large, it is less misogynistic. It is less sort of low vibrational, toxic kind of commentary. When I say that, I'm thinking about like less so discoursey, like who should pay for the bill? Are we splitting 50-50? If my mom and my girlfriend are sitting in the car with me, who's sitting in the front seat? Who's sitting in the back seat? Like less so that sort of vibes. I feel like originally the balloon pop genre and the 20v1-ness of it all kind of gave that era. We're a little bit more refined now. We're out of the trenches. And I think that that's been what's making it so interesting recently. And it really has been allowing for the content itself to be so popular and be what it is. Like it really does feel like this, at least what Arlette has going on, is getting us so close to like high quality reality TV. In terms of the production value, the quality, and the length of the content, like these are hour-long episodes. And I really think they're really well done. But I feel like where it's starting to feel more and more like reality TV in both the good and the bad ways, in the sense that it's starting to feel less like people just coming online to find a date and more so people just coming online to make a moment and to make it into a clip and to go viral and go off of that, because that's very much the state of reality TV and reality dating shows right now. And I could make a whole video on that, actually. That sounds kind of interesting. If you want to see that, let me know down in the comments below. But yeah, it feels like people are really being wild and just doing stuff for clips. And in that, a lot of the things, which can be the appeal factor, but also can be a little bit of a detractor, is that these sort of dating shows, these sort of balloon pop shows really expose some of the common pitfalls and issues that come along with dating in 2024. Like you truly see some of the best and some of the worst. Like there was this one popular clip that went around of this really tall doctor guy. I don't remember his name, but he was on a couple of episodes.
It's an important thing. Then you won't be able to keep your man, and that is respect. Always respect your man.
I see that you like to interrupt,
I apologize.
It's best that I did pop that balloon.
I feel like you are extremely arrogant, and I feel like you're probably gonna have a hard time because you seem like the type, like a know-it-all type of guy.
But you are given arrogant, and it's given toxic too. Like it's given to, you want to debate all the time. Like it's like you're gonna give me a headache.
But like, you're not used to a dominant woman. I feel like you do come off as arrogant.
And it seemed like it was his life mission to come on and try and be like the smartest person and the most arrogant person in the room, constantly talking down on all the women that he would come across on the show. Just really kind of giving that evolved form of toxic masculinity, where it's not as much outright vitriol as much as it is like weaponized arrogance, if that makes sense. And you see stuff like that. And honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, most of the things that I'm thinking about that stick out to me come from the men that are on the show. Because then I'm also thinking about the clip of like that one short king that was super aggressive and talking down to a lot of, again, of the women.
Your name and age and why you ended up popping your balloon?
Brianna, 26. My eyes are up here, baby. Are you looking at the tattoos?
No, I'm looking at the hair on your arms. You know, the women I deal with, they don't have hair on their arms.
Don't do too much.
Hey, I'm just being honest,
Don't
Queen.
do too much.
You know, I don't like that. That's all I was looking at. You trying to say if I'm looking at.
And since you want to come at everybody over here, I'm gonna get at you too. You kind of look like a Ninja Turtle. You're not that cute. You need to relax. You stocky as hell. And I was trying to be respectful, but like you was really coming out like I didn't like it. Okay.
But one thing about me, I could pull 100,000 on the bank. Can you do the same?
Get this
yeah,
man
you can't
off
do that.
camera.
You can't do that though, baby. Yeah,
Let's
in a real
move on.
way.
Let's
You can't
move
do
on.
that though, Queen.
And that sort of back and forth is really what I'm talking about. Like, it's giving like reality TV down. Like the sassiness, the disrespect, like truly all of the best and worst qualities and stories that you hear from dating in this current day are shown on that show. Like you have people on the show that are stand-up people. Like they on paper are so great, seem to have a good head on their shoulders, great job, life's together and actually looking for love. And in those cases, it's really great. Then you also have people that come with their own flaws, which is really great to see. You have the people that exude all of the red flags that you see and go out of your way to avoid. And it almost starts to feel like a caricature of like dating red flags just because it's so extreme and so unserious. But this is a reality for some people. This is like how people actually are. Like I remember in one episode that they had a guy that came on and he hopped on the scene and was like, I really like feet. And then continued to make a lot of innuendos and just generally being kind of a terrible guy, like talking about women's hair and like valuing like natural hair, and really was just harping on the feet aspect.
And now, what are some things you look for in a woman?
So I look for emotional maturity. I look for consistency and pretty feet and good credit.
Okay.
But if you don't got good credit and you got bad credit, I know how to fix that to get us some funding.
Okay, got it. And now, what are some of your deal breakers?
My deal breakers, ugly feet. Deal breakers is also attitude. I don't do attitude and combativeness. I don't do that either.
Okay.
Looking at all the girls' toes, which personally made me uncomfortable. I don't know how they did it. Like I was watching that being like, ooh, going down the line, talking about every one of their feet. Like it just feels like nobody's serious because like it can't be like that in real life. Like it can't. I mean, it can, and it is, but it just is so wild to see. Like it borders the line on I hate to say this, but it borders the line of being like a Netflix reality show and like something you see on Zeus. Because what do you mean you're going down the line looking at people's toes? And that's kind of compounded by the fact that on these sorts of shows, the two people on either side, either having the balloon or not, can just go in as much as they want because the hosts usually don't moderate the conversations to kind of just step back and let them happen and come to a close. Like, of course, they're going to prep and prime the conversation by being like, oh, how do you feel about this person? Oh, what do you have to say about that? But once they actually start talking, it is very rare. I don't know if you notice, it is very rare that they like intervene in the conversation. They just watch it play out. And that's messy. And I kind of like that. I saw a lot of people criticizing that online, being like, there needs to be more structure and moderation. I personally kind of like the mess of it all. Like, it'd be especially when they know they're being messy too. Like, when someone who's clearly not another person's type gets a balloon popped on them and they have to explain why they popped their balloon, the hosts are messy because the person who popped their balloon tries to like play it off and be general, being like, oh, you just weren't my type. They follow up and like, well, what about them actually makes them not your type? Like, you were messy for that.
Like, just, I don't know, if I'm basing off of looks, he's just not my type.
Okay. And what about him is not really your type?
You are messy. They were trying to be politically correct. They were trying to spare people's feelings, but you want the tea. You want to know exactly why. You want to hear the most outrageous things to come out of people's mouths, because that is one thing that you learn from watching these sort of shows. And also something that you just know from like dating and like understanding how things go right now. People have the most unserious, hurtful, honestly kind of problematic types or preferences, like things that they will go for and things that they won't. And that kind of brings me to my next thought on the genre, in that while the concept is very entertaining and this is like a dating show, this genre of dating show feels the most like what dating apps feel like in real life, because that's essentially what this is. The people on the show are essentially judging each other off of their looks and some surface level questions that you think of on the spot to decide whether or not you want to like match with them and like walk off screen with them, which is essentially what all of us do on dating apps. Like, we base who we want to swipe on off of their physical appearance, of how their profile looks, and then maybe what they were at in their profile, or some surface level questions that we ask after we match to see if you want to go on a date with that person. Like, it just seems really superficial. And I kind of want to know, like, are there any people that have been on these shows that have actually made it out successfully? Like, they walk out of the studio together and actually start forming a relationship. Like, are there any success stories from balloon pop dating? That's what I want to know. Because I don't know, it doesn't seem so. And even the people that get matched together and that pair off together don't necessarily give longevity. I don't know. I could be wrong. I need to see. I would like to see the receipts. I would like to see those that have made it through the trials and tribulations of balloon pop dating and made it out on the other side. Like that, I don't know. One thing I do have to give the genre credit for is the fact that it is one of the only sort of like reality dating shows, unlike YouTube and then like just just generally, that has so many different variants of it. Like I said before, there is like a gay version, and like it is very rare to get like gay versions of dating shows, both on YouTube and then just in the general reality dating sphere, which is a whole other thing, because I feel like that's a market that could be so entertaining and so interesting to tap into. Because like even for this, the gay versions, they tend to get down a little bit more because there are different dating factors at play, and it's actually really interesting to like look at those, because every dating pool has their own issues. Like the straight dating pool has definitely their own set of issues, which I feel like are highlighted very often and more so mainstream. But when it comes to like the gay or queer dating shows, there are just different dynamics at play, like the whole masculine man versus feminine man, top bottom. And also, oh, here's another thing that applies to both that I feel like isn't talked about very often. A lot of times, and this does not just have to deal with the balloon pop dating shows. This is like dating shows throughout. There is such an unsaid undertone of colorism, and it's not something that's like intentionally like said out loud, but like you can see it in the decisions that people make and the things that people say, especially on the shows where the men are picking. Actually, no, I'm gonna be impartial to this because I saw this done equally on both like the man leading and the woman leading videos. On the episodes where the women had the balloons and they were talking about like whenever like color preference would come up, which is crazy, they'd say things like, oh, I just prefer a man who's a little darker, I like my men lighter. When the men would have the balloons, or like men were choosing, it'd be like an explicit thing of choice. Like they would either go on and pop every darker skin tone person's balloon, or would pop every single time a darker skin tone woman would come on, or it'd be the opposite depending on like what their vibe was. It'd be like, damn, you could really tell like some of these people just like one certain thing, which is crazy. And a whole other conversation about like preference versus colorism, and like it's just like never explicitly necessarily said on the show. You can just see it in the way people are making their choices, and that right there is sort of what I'm talking about, and how this is like a representation and some of the toxic things that go on in the dating sphere and around desirability, because you can literally see how people treat and talk to people differently based on who they find attractive and who they necessarily don't. As well as on the flip side, you see how people act when they consider themselves attractive and others don't. And in that, how they react to like not having their ego fed, which can cause some of the things that happen in the clips that we've played before. Like we truly see it all in this genre of video. We see the superficialness. We see people have egos. We see the toxic masculinity. We see the pick-me-isms of both men and women. Internalized homophobia, ageism, like pretty much everything that plays out and all the factors that play into the bad parts of dating show up in these sort of things. And that just speaks to the quality of the dating pool out right now, because these are all people that are in the dating pool and are not outliers in their views and opinions and experiences. Like there was this one clip of a guy asking a girl how much makeup she puts on, saying like, oh, I don't really like a girl that puts on a lot of makeup. And you could tell he wasn't saying it just because like, I don't know, he prefers like lighter makeup. He was trying to make a point out of it being like, oh yeah, I just don't like girls with makeup. Like girls with makeup try too hard. Like I need someone that's a natural beauty, blah, 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 blah.
So how often do you wear makeup?
I don't actually. I only wear makeup like on events, parties, maybe to the club, but on a regular basis, I don't wear makeup at all.
Okay. When you put makeup on, do you like layer a lot? Does it take you like hours to put makeup on, or does it take you like 10 minutes, 30 minutes? Like how long?
Typically, it takes about a couple hours, yes.
Okay. And obviously makeup is a no for you, or?
Yeah, I like, I get off work, hey boo, get ready, I'll be home in 30 minutes, let's go out.
I just feel like it's things like that that really just like kind of ick. And I don't know, I just think it's funny that there's like that rhetoric that's put out there from these people on the show. Again, this isn't a slight to the host, because I think one of the points of this series is to sort of highlight what kind of people are out there and to let the audience sort of do the reacting and the judgment over like what's right and what's wrong, or like what's red flag behavior and what's actually healthy. But it's still icky to see. And as like a little aside, I think it's kind of funny like how different the outfits are for men and women on these sort of shows. Like the women always step. Like by and large, if you look at the roster time after time after time, the girlies come to step, and they're usually in their Sunday's best. But when it comes to the men, you never know what you're going to get, and especially the episodes where the men have the balloons. It really makes you wonder looking at them all. Like they just all look like they're going to different events. Like you could have someone in a full suit, and then you could have someone in a shirt and jeans, or someone in a sweatsuit. Like you just have such a wide range of what you're gonna get. It's honestly kind of crazy. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on the whole balloon pop series. Like I said before, it's definitely entertaining and something that I enjoy watching in my free time. Although there are definitely valid critiques and things that are problematic, not necessarily with the shows as a whole, but more so towards the actual daters and what that says for the dating environment that we're currently in, and what we allow to proliferate in the dating pool. But yeah, now I want to hear your thoughts of all this. What do you think about the whole balloon pop genre? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you think that it's counterintuitive or destructive? Or do you just feel like it's something that's a little fun? I want to know all your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you're new to the channel, then definitely subscribe, leave a like, and follow me on my socials at Imurgency on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. But other than that, y'all, I've been Imurgency, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.